Super Dave here with another exciting episode of figures, playsets, and accessories that work well with MOTU Classics or Masterverse. This is episode 35. Can you believe it? And today we're excited to look at another Classics figure by Super 7 in the Conan line. First of all, let's look at the figure. That's right, it is finally time for us to review King Conan the Barbarian. Isn't this an awesome looking figure? It has hands, has accessories, has two head sculpts, looking amazing. Just excited about this guy. And then look on the back, you got a bio card. If you'd like to pause and read that now, you certainly can. All right, let's go ahead and break open this ultimate Conan, but first we got a special treat. That's right, we're not just looking at the figure, we're also looking at King Conan's throne. That's right, just take a look at that. That's him sitting on it. And guess what? We are told that this figure has excellent enough articulation to get in that pose. So we're going to come over inside of the Eternia Castle and check out King Conan. And maybe you want to pretend that he's King Randor in a different style outfit, less color. Or he's King Conan who visits King Randor. We'll pretend. But that's what we get in this box. The throne, the base, and that special weapon. And there's even a little bio for the throne that you can pause and read there on that cool scroll. All right, let's go ahead and break open our ultimates, King Conan, throne, and King Conan, and check him out over here in the castle. And here we are inside of King Randor, the Eternian Palace in Eternia. But we have set up temporarily King Conan's throne in here. We're going to be taking a look at this awesome King Conan, as we have other figures here from the Classics line, Masterverse line, even Mundo's Cringer over here. There's even Pumra from Thundercats. Got some cool diorama parts here, and I go over in pretty good detail for members all that I have represented here, every piece for our members only section. You can watch my diorama and how I set this up and where I got all these pieces. And here we have King Conan. And let's first look at his accessories. All right, first of all, our King Conan comes with a set of open palm gesturing hands that are horizontally hinged, as well as two vertically hinged weapon holding hands, which will go nicely with the sword and even the dagger. He comes with a head sculpt where his eyes are gazing upward, just a normal crowned long-haired head sculpt. And then he also has two sets of balled up fisted hands that are horizontally hinged. And then he comes with another head sculpt where he's looking straight ahead and those eyes are looking amazing, looking really good. Both of these head sculpts with long hair and crown, looking cool. And some of this chest armor, of course, like the little fox skin wrap around his neck, the chest armor as well as the soft goods cape are removable. So we'll take a look at that kind of as part of the accessories. Then he comes with this short sword or dagger with sheath, which that sheath will attach to his side belt with a peg. And then he comes, of course, with the Conan the Barbarian long sword, looking awesome as well here. And so there are his accessories. So now let's take a closer look at our Conan, as well as his throne and his articulation. All right, bringing our King Conan in a little closer here, just to look at all of his awesomeness here. You can see that he can hold that sword and bend it up or down with that vertically hinged hand wrist there. And this is cool because he can still do some of those Arnold type poses that we're accustomed to. We'll look at that in just a little bit, but let me go ahead and put this to the side and show you this peg right here on his side, where you can strap on this sheath piece that's really nice detail with little rivets painted on here, some trim work in gold there on the edge and on the tip down here, and that will be able to just plug right on nicely. It's a pretty gummy plastic, so you shouldn't have to heat it up. Just pop it on and you can see how it goes on nicely there and matches the rest of the gold here. Just take a look at the really nice work that is done with these pants. These little rivets, diamond out little type rivets all over his thigh, those thigh guards all the way into his knee. Just look at the cool detail work there on those knee caps, knee pads rather, and then the shin guard there. Not very impressive feet on this particular character as far as trying to make it look like a boot. I don't understand. It's kind of more like, as I've heard said, Crocs almost. But overall, I like the way they did the pants. Looks really good. Even got the seam down the middle with where you can see some of the threads and some of the wrinkles in the pants. And there's King Conan's badunkadunk, or however you say that. Having fun here. And then, of course, this awesome belt area here looking really cool. Another cool emblem here. And then the necklace. All that's molded into one piece there, except for this here. This is removable. It's like a fox skin, I do believe, type, or it could be coyotes, I guess, type wrap that's rubber and is a plastic, rather soft plastic, that will wrap around him if you would like that on him, or you can remove it and just have that type of chest armor there with the shoulder pads, looking a little bit more regal there without that. Unfortunately, you can't take off that top layer necklace though. That is molded into that piece. Do kind of wish they had had that where that was removable, instead of having those, I guess, claws where he's hunted and killed something and hanging the trophy around his neck, so to speak, right? But you can see his head sculpt, just how cool those eyes look. Really looking nice. I love this crown. Looking sharp. You see the hair that goes down the back here. You see the details on the buckles here. And again, this is soft goods back here. They go around his arm and it tapers back down into two pieces to form like a cape. That's really neat, and that must be true to like the original pattern of his outfit. I'm not sure. Look at his bracers there, looking good. But let's go ahead and take a look at his articulation, and I'll leave the fox/coyote skin back here for a moment. Before we do the articulation, I will go ahead and put this short sword right in there so you see that it'll plug right into that sheath on the side of his belt, and then that can be moved from any direction with that peg. But we'll go ahead and do his articulation, and he's going to be able to look up about that much. He's going to be able to look down. If I hold the back of his hair, that's about as much as he's going to be able to look down. So he's not going to be able to look down. It kind of bounces back a little bit. He's be able to look down just about that much. He does get a little bit of head pivot, so that is good. He does get a little bit with this head sculpt, and of course he will be able to turn and look to the side. The hair does kind of squeak up against that plastic, as you can hear there, if you have the armor on. And so you get pretty good head motion there. His arms will go 360. You're just going to have to make sure that as it does, it kind of moves through that fabric. He does have shoulders that will go up to a T pose there. He also has bicep swivel, as you can see up in there, bicep swivel, and you see that peak, bicep peak of Arnold's is well defined in there. He has single jointed elbows and has swivel at the elbow, as you see. And again, here you have the horizontally hinged hand, but it will swivel and hinge there. This side is the same, except you have, like I said, with those vertical weapon holding hands for sword work there, which will be nice to be able to utilize there. Then, as far as his abdomen, you do have the classics style crunch feature down in there, and you can see how it just really tapers out into a small waist down in there to be able to fit into that waist section where the belt is molded in, and he's able to crunch forward really good amount there. He's going to be able to bend back a good amount there, looking good there as well. So crunching forward and bending back is good, and he can swivel at the waist, which is excellent. Now we're told that his legs get a pretty good amount of distance because we're going to be able to get that pose that we saw on the box. So you can see he kicks up a really decent amount there. He bends that knee at least 90 degrees with that single jointed knee, but also gets rotation at the knee. He also gets rotation up in here with the thigh rotation. Instead of there being a cut, it's built into the joint up in here, and that'll be the same on both sides. He'll be able to bend back a little bit, and notice here you have a little split here at the belt, which I believe is going to allow, it's going to allow for that leg to bend way in, for him to be able to get that pose that we were talking about earlier, where he can get that seated on the throne pose. And there it is. I changed the hand out, this hand, and put on the different head. It has a little bit more of a clearance of looking up for the hair, and even the way they designed it on the inside. I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. I didn't put the skin back on, so let me go and pop that on so it'll look just like it does in the picture, and we'll look at him on the throne here in just a second. But you see, there he is. He can get in that pose really nicely. And let's go ahead and show you what I was talking about, this head. This one, you can see how it's designed, where the hair has a little bit of a cutout to make room for the shoulders and even the shoulder pads, whereas this one has a little bit of a different design. They elongated this back part, moved the hole up more toward the inward jaw, and scooped out a little bit more of the hair so that you can get that tilted up look. And that's why these eyes are also looking upward, so that he can bend low and still be looking at you with that head. So that is the seated on the throne head, so to speak, and this is his standard regular looking straight ahead head. And I'm telling you, I really like this head sculpt. I think it could even work for love to have another one, just so I could use maybe one of these as a Jesus custom, kind of like the one that I customized, that I made based on the recipe that I got off Instagram. But that used an edge, a wrestling edge head with a classics body, using different pieces like Eldor and different things. But that would make an excellent Jesus head sculpt for a custom of a serious face. But first of all, going ahead and finishing that articulation, as I showed you, there is a knee swivel there. His foot's going to be able to go up. His foot's going to be able to go full tiptoe there, pretty much all the way up as far as you would need to. He does have a peg hole on the bottom and gets excellent rocker joints. So this figure has all the earmarks of what we look for in what I would call the classics style articulation, but they did scoop out this arm here and make it where he can get in this pose very nicely. You can see how they did that design, so you can get a little bit more range in all areas here. But I will show you very quickly, before we show him on the throne in that pose, that if we pop this head off, you can move all of that. And again, all that's one piece, the necklace. You can see the details up in here of this necklace. Little part that wraps around the leather band there, or it makes it look leather. You can see that that piece goes on there. And then technically, you can remove this cape piece from him, like so. So you could have bare-chested Conan, like so. Now when you do that, the hair is going to really stick out with this particular head. Let's see how it does with the other one. Not as bad. It's going to hang a little better with the looking straight ahead Conan type head. And you can see he can get into that really cool Conan pose like that as well. You can see how this will bend in more, even though there's a thick bicep peak. They have it chiseled out here where it will bend in. And even though this is not the exact same one where his hands are more spread out, if you have the other Super 7 Conan without the beard, you could even swap heads here and use that particular hand if you have that. We'll look at that in comparisons. But you can see it's got a muscular back here, got some shading in some areas as well, looking really good even in the pectoral area here and around the ribs. So some good shading and just looking really cool, looking tight, looking good. And that's another reason why that wrist will bend so well there, so that he can get those classic poses. Looking cool. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at him on his throne right quick. Alright, looking at the throne set, let's first take a look at this special weapon here, which I'm assuming is movie accurate as far as one of the artifacts that came. You can see the cool detail in that metallic blade and the base of the blade, even these spike pieces with some gold trim, the black handle with gold trim, and then again you have that same design, the spike pieces repeated down here, and even a really nice looking metal base at the bottom of that staff slash, I don't know, blade type weapon thing that we get here. So that is really cool. And we also get in this set this complete throne. There's no back to it. You can see it has like a cutout here in this section right here. This is all plastic, but it does feel like it has a texture, kind of almost a softer texture, not to the point that it's a cushion, but it is a textured plastic that almost feels like an upholstery type scenario. You have the nice gold inlays here, the lion faces, I'm assuming, here on the side. Now those do not move, but it is soft rubber, so you won't break it off, you know, just by touching it or bending it there. You can see the feet, the lion feet, looking cool. You see this rug that is actually a piece of plastic molded on over top of this stone gray plastic base, so you can just see it all the way around, looking really cool. It is glued on here, so I believe it's, yeah, you can see it's supposed to be permanently mounted there, so that's looking really cool. So now let's go ahead over there and put him on our little area that I've designated over there, and you can see over there where I have designed an area over here. That's again a foam base that I made with, you know, just gray paint and different shades of gray, and using a hot knife just to put the cracks in it and stuff to raise it up. I used it for my King Shao Kahn throne, but I'm using it here just to give a little bit more elevation, and that's cool. So that did not come with it, as you'll see here as I set it up together with King Conan seated on it right now. And come on over here, we're gonna take a look at Conan seated on his throne. Let's go on over here into the throne room, everybody coming along with me. as we take a gander at our Conan. Let's brighten it up just a little bit here, and you can see he can achieve that pose perfectly seated on his throne. Just look at there, looking awesome. Yep, there he is. That's looking perfect. Looking perfect. I just stabbed that little staff blade into my styrofoam a little bit there so it would stand beside it. But that is just looking neat. That's King Randor's goblet there that I put on that little table from Classics. And again, this King Conan is basically the buck and the style of the original Classics. So of course he will go with your Masters of the Universe Classic figures if you like, or your other Conan figures if you're collecting all of them. But he is just looking fabulous here all the way around, just looking good. I'm loving the way this looks. He's seated on his throne and he's contemplating everything while his guards guard the door of the palace or the throne room. And that is so cool. All right, now that we have looked at him on his throne, let's go ahead and take a look at some comparisons. And here's our King Conan next to Chief Carnivus over here, which is a Masters of the Universe Classics figure from the Mike Young production and the 2000X cartoon line, and is part of the lore of MOTU. Love this character. It's one of my favorites from that particular time period. And then I love putting in our Poomra, which, if you know anything about Thundercats, that's actually technically Mum-Ra, the villain in disguise, but I like to pretend that he's an extra or a part of the village or part of Eternia, and maybe even a part of the Thundercats as a good guy sometimes in my world. But I am kind of surprised that King Conan is slightly shorter, just a tad shorter than these two, but still looking great with them. You can really pose him up well with those hands that he comes with. He just has a realism about him. And I think you could use him as even a King Randor if you really wanted to. Kind of like in somewhat the style of a 2000X King Randor, if you will. And there's a picture of that King Randor. You can kind of see what I mean from 2000X or the Mike Young production. And here is our King Conan beside our actual King Randor from the Filmation style version here, holding his goblet. And there is Queen Marlena. And if you're not familiar, that is He-Man or Prince Adam's mom and dad. And She-Ra's mom and dad, Adora. They were twins. But of course, there is another King Randor body, but I made that into King Grayskull in his dress uniform. And not casual uniform. This is in his more regal uniform, and I used this particular arrangement for my Masters of the Universe The Story, which I have on my channel, where I do like a little mini series. I have up to part 3 on there, and I'm working on part 4 now. And this is, I started on this before Masterverse line even started, so I'm slow on it, but this is my King Grayskull in his dress fatigues, or his dress uniform, or his dressed up kingly self. And that's a Jerry the King Lawler crown, by the way, on his head from the wrestling stuff that I ordered that on eBay a number of years ago. But there is our King Conan next to our actual kings of Eternia that we know of right now anyway. Don't have a King Myro. Would love to have gotten a King Myro, but never have had an action figure of him made, if I'm not mistaken. But you see that. And then also, there's another Classics King Randor right there. There's the one I was talking about, and that is the actual King Randor that is the classic style, not necessarily the Filmation one like we just saw a moment ago. But he is looking awesome as well. Love his outfit and his cape and everything. But you can see they're about the same size. The crown makes him a little taller, just as far as the height of the character measuring from the tip of the crown. But if you measured from the tip of the head, I think they would be the same size here. So looking good. Of course, you know, Masterverse stuff, Eternia, a lot of bright colors, a lot of colorful characters. But overall, if you wanted to go more with a 2000X style, you know, motif, you could make this your King Randor if you like. Looking cool. And here is our Conan bowing down to the Lord himself. That's an action figure of Jesus based on a recipe that I used, that I saw on Instagram. Someone that did it. I forget. It's been a while back since I seen that one that I used. But that is the Demo Man's legs. Let's see. The feet were the feet of, I believe, the comic version of Conan that Super 7 did. The upper body is part of the, I believe, the mainly Eldor, and then disguised Eternia, disguised He-Man, that cloak and skirt type thing that he had going on. Everything's been modified and painted, of course. And then the head is a WWE Edge, and I don't remember which one it is. You can find him on eBay. Just look for the one with the smile, and just very, very reminiscent of a Jesus head sculpt of what we picture him anyway. But as far as for a serious head, let's take a look at using the head that looks straight ahead on this Jesus and just see how it looks. Now that looks really good. Now obviously you'd have to do some modification, you know, if you didn't want him to have a crown on his head. But that's a serious looking Jesus head, I think. I mean, you could definitely use it. Definitely could use that. Could even modify it to look like, you know, Jesus on the cross. Modify that crown into like a crown of thorns, or cover it up rather with like some, use some Play-Doh, do a crown of thorns or some putty. I don't know. There's different things that you could do, but that definitely looks good, I think, as a serious head sculpt anyway. But cool. And that's, like I say, just a classics style Jesus action figure based on that recipe. Alright. And a few other comparisons. There's a Mythic Legion next to our Conan, as you can see. Is very good scale there. Could go well with the Mythic Legions. And he's short compared to this NECA Strongheart, Dungeons and Dragons Strongheart Knight, but you could still make that happen if you want a tall knight for our king to dub. And then there he is next to our movie style He-Man by Super 7 Ultimates. They did an excellent job with a classics style He-Man from Super 7 Ultimates in the Classics line, and he's definitely taller than Conan. But now let's look at our Conan collection, and there's our comic book style Conan. You can see how much taller he is than this King Conan. Of course, those horns help out, but this is a Classics style, still while they were doing the pins in the knees and the elbow there. And you can see there's where I got those sandaled feet that I mentioned earlier with that customized Jesus, because I got two of these so that I could do a custom He-Man with this body, and I used different feet when I did that custom and used the feet on my Jesus figure. And then there is the other Super 7 Ultimates, it's Classics style Conan the Barbarian. And you can see him doing that classic style pose with the sword. That's the sword he came with, and the necklace, and that head sculpt that looks like Arnold. And very cool figure with some good articulation. I've got reviews of both of these up on my channel as figures, play sets, and accessories that work with MOTU Classics or Masterverse. In this case, mostly Classics. And there's Vicor by Masters of the Universe Classics, official MOTU figure, and he's looking awesome next to these behemoths as well. Looking muscular, looking strong. They pose well, they look good together, and just like the aesthetics of these figures. And there you go. Let's look at a few more. And then finally here, there is our Masterverse Revolution He-Man, getting ready to draw his sword. There you can see how much taller this 7-inch style figure versus basically a 7.5 figure is. And here is a Fight for Glory X-Ray Studios style figure. I've got a few of those that also I pair along with my Masters of the Universe as an extra, or along with them sometime. I like him. He looks good next to this Conan. Look, would fit right in with that time period. And even Ryu, dressed in this way, I like him. He looks cool, I think, as a huge big fella that can go along with Masters of the Universe Classics, especially here. But there you have it, looking good. Thank you so much for joining us for another Super Dave review. And it has been fun taking a look at this Conan, or if you want to make him King Randor. And it is awesome to see him alongside of other figures. Even He-Man here, Battle Armor He-Man with the vintage style classics head. And just looking good all the way around. And again, come back and see us again, and we'll look forward to it. Be blessed. Here's some photos in the photo gallery.